I think we're pretty much done with that. I don't know, I might add like a box shadow to the bottom of it. But other than that, I think that's done for. So now I'm gonna actually copy and paste this and put this for the rest of the pages so that everything's consistent. So let's do that, and that. I forgot to save these. Save. So now, if we go to our website and we click home, we click shop, it takes us to shop.php, which gives us the nav bar, social, login, so forth. And we click that, it takes us to the index page. So now that every page has a nav bar, I guess what we can do is actually get to the heart of the website, which is making an e-commerce website. So I think we're going to open up Excel. If you don't have Excel, there's this thing called Google Docs as well. You could use that. And I'm basically going to use this as a template for creating a table in my database. So I don't know what we're going to be selling, but I'm going to just assume a general item, maybe like a t-shirt or maybe even a phone, since earlier I said Pixel or Pixie reminds me of the Google Pixel. So the first column is going to be an ID. We're going to have a name, maybe a description. Should we have a description? Most websites don't even have a description, to be honest. Maybe not. Okay, so name, maybe size. Yeah, I think we're gonna do t-shirts. Size, what else? Size, price, or sizes, I should say. And then price, name, size, I think that's it. What else do we need? Oh, quantity. I know, well, quantity doesn't matter. That'll be user input. And what else do websites have? So let me go to eBay. I don't know. Let's go to eBay and see what kind of things they have, because I really don't know. Let's go to tech, cell phones. Maybe I should do shirts because I'm doing shirts. So shirts. Let's see. What do they have? Here we go. I realize people are selling this. So let's go to H&M. H&M probably is a good website to look at for this kind of stuff. So let's see, men. Let's go to shirts. There it is. Dress up shirt. Okay, so color, size, price, title or name, and then description and details. We can have details and description, I guess. I don't really care. Okay, so description and then details. So I think that's all we need for each item. So basically the reason why I use Excel is just to use this as a layout for when I build my table in my database. So we could use this now. So let's go to localhost 8080, port 8080, php my admin. So go to your php my admin and we'll start creating a database. So this is root for me and no password. And then there we go. So let's create a new database. We'll call this e-website because that's what it is. Collation, that's fine, whatever. Okay, let's create a new table. We're going to call this items. Oops, I think I already messed up. I guess we could add more columns. How many columns are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 columns. And there's 4, so let's add 2 columns. Let's go. Okay, so that's 6. So the first one's going to be an ID, integer, default, whatever, length, it doesn't matter, not null. Automatically incrementing, that's what a_I means. And then we're going to have name of the thing. So let's say that'll be 100 characters. Default, we'll leave that as that, and we'll leave everything else the same. Okay, and then what was the next one? Sizes, price, description. So sizes, price, description, and then details, I guess. So we're going to display all this content on the page. Sizes, we'll do, maybe this is a little excessive, 200. Price, let's say like 10. This will be varchar. Well, I guess we could, well, it's not integer. We'll just use varchar, it doesn't matter. Okay, and then description, maybe 300. Even that's probably excessive for that. Details, varchar, let's say 100. And then we can leave everything else the same. What else do we need? No? Okay, yeah, so there's that. So we can save this. Ooh, incorrect table definition. There can only be one auto column, and it must be defined as key. So I guess you have to make this index primary. I guess it usually does that when you press auto increment, but that's the reason why I had an issue there. Anyway, so this should be able to save now. So now that we have a table, we can start inputting data. So we'll save the data. Oh, I forgot one more thing. We have to add an image. I forgot about that. Okay, so how do we add a column? So we can add a column right here, and we could add it after, let's say, I guess after details. On this will be just image path. So we could say image path. This will be variable character, and we'll say 100 for that, and then we could save that. So that should be actually everything. So our ID, name, sizes, prices, description, details, image path. That should be everything. I don't think we need anything else. We might need a button. No, I don't know. We'll get to that. So we have our basic database setup. So now that we have that, let's start actually building the shop page. So here's the shop page, and what we're going to include right here, we're gonna require, well, actually we want this to be the first thing, so we're gonna require the db connect, so connect.php, so that we could connect to the database and use the information from the database and start displaying information. So okay, so we're gonna have different sections in this website, or this page. So I like to break it up a bit. So this is going to be the main nav bar. So let me identify that. So this will be the main nav bar, if I could spell. So that's the main nav bar. And then I think we're going to do a filter. So let me bring these PHP tags down. So we're going to have a filter, or filtration, I don't know what you call it, a filter system thing. So we'll keep that there, and then we're going to have item display. This is where we're going to display each item. And there we go. So what we can do now, to keep my stuff organized, I'm going to create a new folder called pages. And then within pages, I'm going to create another folder for the shop page. So this will be shop. And from there, we're gonna start including the portions of that website. So we're gonna create a new file called filter.php. So that's gonna be the filter code for the shop page, and then we're gonna have another file that's gonna be called item display.php, and that's where we're gonna put the code for the item display. So we keep everything organized. You don't have to do this, but I like to do this to keep everything organized. It does get cumbersome if you have larger websites, so keep that in mind. So let's see, we have the shop page. So let's include those files. So it'll be pages/shop/filter.php. So that'll be that portion of that web page. And then we're gonna have the item display. So include pages shop, what is it, item display.php, and now we have those portions, or those pages, being displayed on this web page. So let me organize this. So connect to database. That's what this is doing right here. And then we have head file, like that. So that's the web page right there. So let's start working on the item display. Let's see if everything's working actually. So click that, click shop. Oops, something went wrong with the database. Please try again later. That is true. So let's go to, there's an issue with the connection. So we have the server, the root, and blah, 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 blah. So we have to change the DB name, which is right here, which we called e-website, I believe. Or whatever you called your database. So we called it e-website. So we could use that right there. Username, root, blah, blah, blah. And that should solve that issue, hopefully. Yep, okay. So we're on the shop page, so we're connected to the database. Bada boom. So now that we have that, I think we are ready to design the actual item display. So this might actually take the rest of the hour, and we're already 12 minutes into this video. So these videos actually go by pretty quickly. Okay, so item display. I don't know how I want to design it. It's gonna be right here. It's gonna be right here, and we're gonna make it look nice. So let's say div, more divs. So this will be ID, item display, wrap maybe, and then we'll close that off. So that'll be just the container or the background, and then from there we're gonna actually start listing out items. So what I'm gonna do is basically just have a div here, and then within that div, so this is going to be a class, so these are going to be the individual items. So this is going to be items, and then inside that we want an image. We want an image, and we don't have a source yet. And then alternative, we'll say sorry, image did not load. So that little the alt right here just means it will display some text if the image does not load. So I'm just simply saying the image did not load. So that's what happens if you have that. And then I'm thinking maybe just a title. So item name maybe. So a div like that, and then a class called item names like that, and then let's put item, capitalize it, item name like that. So that's what I want, and I think we do 4 per row. So we'll make this dynamic in a bit, but we'll just keep it like that. So this will be 2, this will be 3, and this will be 4, and this will be 1. So there we go. Now we should have 4 different items being displayed on the page. There we go, which is perfect. Oops, you're not supposed to see that. Okay, so what we have here, we have item name, item there. Okay, so what do we need to do? We could start styling this. So the other day, or yesterday, I jumped the gun by creating an index folder for the styling. That's basically for web pages that have content on them. And since we don't have content on the index page yet, I didn't mess with that. So this is what I mean by organization. So what we're gonna do is create a folder for the shop page. So we're gonna say shop. It's the same organization as the pages folder. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna have shop, and then we're gonna create a new shop SAS file like that, and we're gonna import basically whatever's in this folder into this SAS file, which is then gonna be created, converted into CSS into this folder, and that's where we're gonna include those files. So I guess before I do that, I need to do this. So link Is it not link? Why can't, oh, it's because I'm in PHP. So we'll link the style sheet. I can't type. So this will be rel style sheet, I believe. Type equals text slash CSS, and then is it source? I think it's source. And then we get the source, which is going to be CSS slash shop.css, like that. So this is going to be shop styling, like that. So now that we have that included on our web page, we should now be able to style the web page. Okay, so we have this, we don't need that. We have this now. So this is shop sass, and then what we're going to create in here, we're going to create new files called item display.sass. So that's the first file, and then new file, this will be filter.sass. And then what we're going to do is import those files into the shop sass. So we're going to import, what is it going to be? It's going to be shop slash item display.sass. And then we're going to import, I should probably do that second, and then import the shop slash filter.sass. So we're basically pushing these Sass files in here into this page, and then we're gonna push this final page into CSS, and then we're gonna use that file when linking in style sheets. And the reason why I do this is just to keep things organized. So, like for example, if I go to the shop page and I want to see if let's say there's an issue with the filter, and I want to find the code only related to the filter, all I have to do is go to pages, shop, then filter, and then I have the code for just the filter. Or if it's a CSS or a Sass issue with the filter, I go simply to Sass, I go to shop, and then go to filter. There you go. So that's why it's convenient, for me at least, to do it this way. However, it does get cumbersome if you have a large website with multiple web pages. Then this might be an issue. There might be another way to more efficiently organize your styling for the website. So there we go. So this is the web page now. Hopefully there's no issues. And now we can start doing the styling. So we have shop sass, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So let's do the item display sass. So what do we have? Item display wrap. So this will be an ID. So item display wrap, and that'll be a width. I think 900 pixels is good, and then margin 0 auto. And just an FYI, to define a margin 0 auto, basically this allows you to center an object or an element in the horizontal direction. But this only works if you define a width for that element. So if I didn't define a width, this wouldn't happen. So make sure you define a width for that to happen. And we'll do height auto, because I don't know how large this is going to be. And let's put a padding of, let's say, 8 pixels. I think that's a nice padding. And then we'll do a background color of white smoke, because I like this. It's a small off-white, but it does contrast the background of the website, which I think is pretty nice. And then we'll do a border radius of maybe 2 pixels. It's a slight change, so let's see what we got now. Did not load, unfortunately. Is there a CSS issue? I guess not. Okay, what's going on here? There's no head being applied. That's weird. Global styling's right here. Okay, so what we have the CSS shop. Can I go to that? I guess not. Maybe it's not source. Did I mess this up again? So include head. It's href. Okay, that's why. So it's href, not source. I get those mixed up a lot. So now let's refresh it. There we go. So now we have more gray and more monotone coloring. So now that we have that, we're gonna put a margin on it. We're gonna put a margin on the top, maybe let's see, 30 pixels. That's about right. Maybe 50. No, well, 40. Doesn't go in between. So 40 pixels, and then we're gonna put so it'll be top, right, bottom, and then auto. So I just added a margin on the top so that it pushes it down a little bit. And then I like to add a box shadow. So what I like to do is I don't know, Google something like Google, and then usually Google has this nice box shadow like right here. It's kind of cool, and you just inspect the element and then you still there's styling. So right here, this should have some sort of box shadow. I guess not. Does this have a box shadow? I'm probably going to spend most of my time looking for the box shadow because I can never successfully do this quickly. So where is this box shadow? I want to look at it. Padding, blah 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 blah. Am I missing it? No, I'm not. That's weird. I don't know where it is. Maybe this has it. Okay, I'm gonna stop the timer and look for this box shadow so I could show you guys what I mean. Okay, I found it. It's like this G inner card. I don't know what that is. I mean, I know what it is because it shows on the screen, but like, yeah. So there's that. But this is what I want. I want this box shadow. It's really clean. I like it a lot. So I'll steal it from Google and put a box shadow here, and then paste that in, and it looks pretty nice. So let's see it. Boom. Now you got that. It looks a little bit more like Google. What else do I want to do to it? I guess that's it. And then what we can do is actually spread these things out. So what we can do is put div class items. So items will display inline blocks, so we can stack them vertically or horizontally. So what was it called? Items, and then put display inline block like that. And then what else can we do? Well, let's see. The width should be, what is it? What is that? We have 4 of them, so 25% is pushing it. So we have to do some math. So it'll be, let's try just 25% now. And then what else do we need? Maybe I don't even want a background for this color. I don't know. So let's see. So that's what we have there. I don't think that's appropriate because there's a box shadow. So what we want, we need to calculate the perfect width for these individual items. So what we want 900 pixels because that's the width of this gray box right here. So 900 pixels minus, okay, so minus what? We have 8 pixels padding, so that'd be 16 pixels. So 900 minus 16, and then you divide that by 4, right? Because that'll be the remaining. But that means they'll be stacked next to each other, which is not what I want exactly. But I mean, it works. So let's see. I mean, there is that issue again with the being inline block elements. So let's do that. Let's get rid of that issue because that extra space will mess with the location of these items. So let's get rid of that. So that should be fine. There should be a small change. Okay. So now that we have that, let's see. Since this is bothering me, let's put that. So text align center like that. So that centers the image as well as the title. Okay. I'm gonna put a background color so I can see how it looks. So let's put it pink. And then, okay. See, I don't want them to be close together where they're just perfectly touching. I want some spacing in between them because these are going to be images. So what we can do is, or actually I could leave it like that and actually define the image with based on the percentage of the items, and that way we can ignore this calculation issue. So, but it's also a lot easier to write if I knew. I don't know how I want to do this. Let's try. I think we're good. Okay, so let's add one more thing because I realize this is what people like to see as well. Is the actual price of the item. So prices. So item prices, I should say. Item prices, and then we'll define that. And then we'll say this is going to be, I don't know, $68.00. And now we have that. Okay. So I think we could just leave it like that, to be honest. What happens if I shrink it? Uh-oh. So let me see. So if I do that, it stops. Okay, that's fine. So now that we have that, what we can do is define an image. I wish I had an image, to be honest. I really don't know what size of the images I should have to be. So let's define the images. So items, this will be image. We'll say width is, I don't know, 80% of the parent, and that should be it for that. So width is that, and then maybe a margin, actually. So a margin bottom of maybe, I don't know, 15 pixels. Maybe that's too much, 10 pixels. And then what else is displayed? So we have item names, item prices. So item names. So item names, that'll be with auto, but we want a max width of whatever this is. So we'll just say that we want to, or minimum width of that. So min width just basically allows or prevents the object to get smaller than that width. So if it gets if the object gets smaller than that, then it just stops becoming smaller. So there's that. So item width, blah blah blah. We'll say height auto. Actually, no. Well, maybe. No, actually, we just define a height. So it'll be what? Let's say 20 pixels. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. We'll leave that blank for now. We'll come across that later. And then we'll say font family. I think I want to use Helvetica. I think Helvetica is a thing. Helvetica, like that. And then we do font weight, and I'm gonna do bold. And then color is gonna be black. I think it's already black, but we'll do that. And that should do that. Alright, we're getting closer. I don't know why it's so large for the image. Oh, because we're keeping the same ratio. Let's say a height is like 400 pixels so that we can keep that like that. That's still too long. I think we need to make this a little bit wider, to be honest. So this is going to be maybe 1200. And we'll change this to 1200 to be consistent. And I think we need to change this to 1200. So there's that. Boom. Okay, that looks a lot better, I think. Wait. There's an offset somewhere, because look at this. You see this spacing right here? It's not the same as that spacing, which is interesting. So I don't think these things are centered, to be honest. So that might be an issue. Alright, we'll come across that later. So the color black, boom. So now let's do item prices. So item prices is basically going to be the same thing. I should just have the same class, to be honest, but whatever. Helvetica, but we want this to be a green because it looks nice in my opinion. Like that. Okay, I don't like that green. If you want to know another good website for flat colors, so to speak, I think flat colors always usually look good. I think it's Flat UI Colors. Yeah, this is a pretty good website. This is another one, UI Color Picker, which is I think the original one. So you click this and find some nice colors. I like this emerald. Shamrock is pretty nice. Jade is a little too dark. This is a little too light. Eucalyptus is too dark. So I'm going to go with emerald. I'm going to take the hex code and use that in my code. So it'll be like that. And there we go. Now we have a nice green. And it looks a little harsh because the background's pink, I believe. So let's get rid of that and see how it looks. Yeah, that looks pretty good. We need some margin as well. So margin top on this would be, let's say, 8 pixels. Not too much, just a little offset. I didn't notice any. There we go. There we go. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And now we just basically repeat the process, but that's not centered, which is bothering me. So let's go to, what is this called? Background color, no, this one. No, wait. Yeah, this one. So, wait, no. Yeah, this one. I keep rethinking it. So let's see, make that pink. And see what happens. Okay, so as you can tell, there's an offset here and here. So this thing is not perfectly centered, so that's going to be an issue. There's this thing called Flexbox. So I think that's what I'm going to use. I forgot the syntax of it, to be honest. So let's go to our handy dandy resource called W3 Schools. So W3 Schools, and then put Flexbox. Or flexible box, flexbox, blah 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 blah. So what we want, we need the flex container, flex item, and then that's it. So yeah. So we need a container. Okay, so that's like the main issue. So so we'll need one more div, unfortunately. So we're gonna do that. Div. I realize that doesn't go there. And this will be class flex container. And then we'll do that like that. So we can close off the tags. So now we have flex container, and that goes before flex items. So this will, or before items, and this will be flex container, and this will be display flex, and alright, and there's not supposed to be that S. Okay, and then I believe you put justify content space between, like that. Like that, and now everything's perfectly centered. Okay, so now that we have that, we have some spacing, so I guess I can make the image a little longer, or a little bit more wide. So let's say 90%, I guess. There we go. So now we can have a nice display. And then what else do we need? We need these to be actual links. So what can we do? We want this to be a link. So let me type that for each individual one. Wait, not that one. This one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. So that'll be that. This will be very important later when making this dynamic. So href blah, and then once we have that, we want to close those off like this, and hopefully that doesn't mess with anything. Okay, good. So now those are links. What we can do now is actually make it so that it doesn't change color like that. So let's change that. So color should be red maybe, because it's like an error. Yeah, something like that. And then what we can do now is actually get rid of that pink color, because that's not necessary anymore. So where's that pink color? That is somewhere right here. So we get rid of that, and that's basically the styling for that. Item 1, item 2, blah 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 blah. And basically we repeat this process for every other row. So I believe all we have to do is copy the flex container and whatever its contents, like that, and paste it again like that. So Control V, and now you have multiple rows. So let's see. Let's hope that works like that. Okay, so there's some issue with margin or some padding. So we could put a margin top on flex container. That is completely fine. We put a margin top and bottom. So let's put like 20 pixels. So 0, 20, well 10 on the bottom, and then 20 or 0. Is my math coming out correctly? Probably not. Yeah, I think that'll work. So there you go. You just repeat the process. And then I guess display wrap should have a margin at the bottom as well. So 40 pixels, so that we have some spacing at the bottom of the website. Unless we're having a footer at the bottom, then that's completely fine. So now that we have our display for the images, what else can we do? The reason why I don't want to start actually doing like the dynamic stuff is because I have to create some images or just download some online, and I really don't want to do that right now. So I guess we could start designing the filter. So we could start doing that. That shouldn't take too long. We have 20 minutes left, and hopefully I can get that done. So we have that. So this is our 3 sections. Oh, actually, we need one more portion of this website. So this is a little technical. So what happens here? So let's say you have like 40 different items. And when you click the shop page, you want to show your items, but you don't want to show all 40 of them on one page. You actually want pages for your website, or for your shop page, if that makes sense. And so basically you want to break up your content. So let's say you're looking at shirts and you have 100 shirts. You don't want to display 100 shirts per page unless you want your user to have 100 shirts. I don't know, displayed on one page. You can have that option if you prefer. And basically, we don't want that. We want to show maybe like 20 items per page, and then have the user click to the next page and display the rest of the content. So what we're going to do now is actually design that at the bottom of the page. So we're going to say here, multiple, I don't know, wait, page separation, no, page, what do you call that? Page numbers, I guess, I don't know. And then we're gonna create that. So include pages shop, and that's gonna be page numbers.php, like that. And now we have to create that in the shop page. So let's create a CSS file. So page numbers.sass, like that. And then we import that into here. So this would be import page or shop / page numbers.sass. And if you're still confused on this idea of importing several SAS files into one file, basically what we have here, we have the item display content, and I'm pushing that into this shop.sass, and the shop.sass is actually being converted in the CSS folder into a CSS file. So if we click the CSS folder and we click shop.css, you see the code for the shop page or the item display page right here in pure CSS. So that's basically what it's doing. It allows me to be organized. So that's just how I like to do things. So page numbers Sass, we need a page numbers. Do we have that? Did we create that? That's Sass. Pages, where's pages? Pages, shop, we need to create a page number. So page numbers, like that, .php. And now this is where we're going to put the page numbers. Okay. So this is going to be interesting. There might be a little bit of JavaScript in this. So let's say div. We always start with a div for some reason. Class page numbers wrap, like we usually do. And then we're just going to have various numbers being displayed. So we're going to have the links, I believe, like this. And this is going to be href. And that's going to be that. Okay. So what else do we need? So it's going to be 1, 2. So I guess I could just copy and paste this. So let's say you have that many pages. So let's say that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we need what? First page? Is that a thing? href. And then what? First page. So we'll say first page. Well, I guess you don't need first page because there'll be always a 1 there. We'll make sure of that. But you could also go to the last page. So href, and then you go last or something. And then here we'll have a span with just dots. And we'll make this again dynamic once we have stuff in our database. So hopefully that looks alright. It didn't show. Oh yeah, it did. No, it didn't. Yeah, it did. It's on the very bottom right there. Okay, so boom, boom, boom. You probably want this in between. No, you probably want it like that. Okay, so we have the page numbers. So let's design that. So let's close that. Okay, and then Sass shop page numbers. Here we go. So what we need, page numbers wrap. So this would be, is that a class? That should be a class, right? Page numbers wrap. I'm running out of time. So let's say width. We'll say a min width of maybe like 300 pixels. And then width should be 300 pixels. So we just prevent it from getting smaller. And then the height should be maybe 40 pixels. And then we have a font family. I think we'll use that robot, or I guess we can actually. Well, no, we'll just use Helvetica. I think that'll look fine. Helvetica. And then colors. No, let's see how that looks for now. I realize this won't override anything. Oh wait, I wanted that height though. Okay, so like that. Background color. I guess we could do that white smoke again. I really am getting tired of that. Or actually, we'll just keep it. Well, yeah. No, it's too boxy. So we'll leave it like that. Margin 0 auto. And then what? 40 pixels at the bottom, auto, like that. And then let's have a padding of maybe 8 pixels. And we'll see how that looks. Okay, it's not exactly centered, but I think I know why. So text align center, like that. So now that we have that perfectly centered, these are now links. So we want some spacing in between those links. So this will be A. Why can't I? Okay, there we go. So margin 0, maybe 10 pixels, 0, 10 pixels. So like that. That gives it some space in between, like that, so we could actually click on the items. And let's make the color. I kind of like that green, but oh, we don't have that blue, huh? We have to import the variables. Alright, this is one thing I really hate doing because there's a lot of path issues with this. Okay, so now that we're in this folder called shop, I need this file called variables. So what I need to do is actually go back one directory. So all you have to do is that, and now we could do variables. And actually that wasn't as painful as I thought it would be, but sometimes it becomes more painful than that. So we'll just define that as variables, and then we'll define this as page numbers styling, like that. And now we can define this color as blue, and it should come up blue. Okay, good. Everything's blue. I think we should do that transition thing again. So let's make it black, and then transition color 0.3 seconds ease, and then when we hover over it, we'll change it to blue like we did before in the nav bar. There might be a mix of colors, to be honest, because I see blue, and so, and then let's make the numbers a little larger. So let's say font size maybe 24 pixels. Is that a little too big? That might be a little too big. Oh, that's a lot bigger than I needed. Oh, okay. I got to put this in the scope of that so I don't change the rest of the page. So font size would be 22 pixels. Let's change it to 22. Like that. I mean, it's a little too big. Let's try 18. 18 pixels might be right. Yeah, that's about a good size. So boom, and then you click last, and that is still black. Okay. I think we need more spacing for those dots, to be honest, like that. I think that will look good. Alright, so now that looks a lot better. We have this pages, this pagination, I think that's what it's called, pagination? I don't know. And now we could use that to increment. And this will also obviously be dynamic, because this is going to be based on how many items are in the database. So we'll get to that when we actually start importing stuff in the database. That might be the next hour when I upload the next video. So the shop page is starting to look, you know, like a shop page. It's just a little weird because, you know, there's redundancy. So I don't know how many items I should have per page. What is this for? Yeah, 12 items per page is pretty good. So we'll have that. Okay, now we should have, let's see. We want a filter as well, huh? So I don't like this bold for the prices. I don't like that for some reason. So let's change that real quick. So font weight. Let's get rid of that. I don't like that. Yeah, it looks a little better. Okay, so item name, boom, boom, boom. Oh, there's one important thing is the page, pages, the item display. Nope, that's not what I want. The item display needs to have specific links. Okay, so what we want to redirect to the shop page, or actually the item page. So this will be item page, and then we're going to have a global variable called ID, and then we're going to leave it like that. Alright, so this is we're going to change this later when we have more items in the database and actually make it dynamic. But for now, we're just going to leave it like that, so we just remember to change. I mean, I guess I don't have to do all these. Okay, we'll save that for later, to be honest. But we'll use the link itself to redirect to the actual item. So we'll have to pull the ID from the database and display the ID within this link tag. And then we could define this global variable, which we can work with PHP and dynamically build. We need a new file. Dynamically build this item display page, which is where we're going to display the actual item. So we'll put item display.php, and that's going to be the actual page where we display the item. So that way we could keep it dynamic, so we only have to design or edit one page instead of 100 different pages for all your items. So we'll dynamically build this item display page based on whether or not the user clicked on this item or this item. So that's what that's for. Okay, so I think we're done with that. I guess we could design the filter. I really don't know what I want to filter, to be honest. So shirts have like size. Oh, that's a lot of work. Well, I guess we could filter that way as well. So we need categories in the database. I guess we'll deal with that in a bit. So we have 10 minutes. I don't know what I can do in 10 minutes. So let's just look at what we need to do right now. So the shop page is looking good. We have the home page, which we did nothing to. So the shop page looks alright. I guess we could start designing the filter. So we have the filter PHP. So shop filter. This is probably the last thing we're going to get to. So div again. So this will be class. Let's see. We'll say filter wrap like that, and we'll start dealing with that stuff. So what do we want? We want I'm gonna list them out real quick. So what do we want? What do people search? So it'll be, I guess, size will be an important one. I guess type, like shoes, pants. Price range, that might be one. What else? Price range, size, color could be one, and I believe that's it. I don't know. I don't think anything else. So that's how we're gonna filter out these items. So we gotta make sure we filter those out. So what we can do is basically have a checklist, maybe not checklist, maybe a drop down menu, and have those selections, and then we have a button at the end that submits a form. Okay, so let's try that. I don't think we're gonna have time for all of this. We'll just start with the form. So we're gonna create a form, and we're gonna have an action, and we're gonna basically redirect and then redirect again. So we're gonna have a method of a get. We have a method of get. We'll use some PHP later, and the action is going to be sent to this page. So we'll do we'll create a new file in the shop page called filter algorithm, or alg, like that, .php. So that'll just filter out the item. So this will be filter alg.php. So basically when a user clicks for the various sizes, types, price, whatever, and submits this form, so to speak, or submits that filtration, it'll send that information to this filter algorithm page, and we'll basically do stuff with that information and display or redirect that user to the shop page where it'll display those parameters that they put in the filter. So you'll see what I mean. It's not too difficult to do. So let's see. Select. I think we want select like that. And then I think select is the right one. Option. Oh no, we're running out of time. So option is gonna be, let's see. This will be sizes, even though this is not an option. So let's have that. Okay, we have small, medium, and then large, like that, and then maybe an extra large. So like, I think you just write X large. I think people understand that notation, and let's see how that looks. Sizes like that. Okay, good. Now that we have that, we basically repeat the process. And so this is going to be type. So this is going to be shirts, pants, shoes, and then maybe accessories like that. And then price. I think this is going to be the last thing we do, to be honest. So price. So this will be price. This will be low, or you know what people do? Well, that's too much work. So we'll put low, high, and what else? Is that the only thing that people use? I don't know. Let's try H&M again. H&M, like that. So H&M, what do we need? Shoes, sure. Can you filter by, sort by low to high, high to low? So I guess that's the only thing they do. And so we get rid of these. So it'll be low to high, like that, and then high to low, like that, and then color. I really don't want to do color, to be honest. Let's get rid of color. We'll figure that out later. But yeah, so there's that. So now that we have these, boom, 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 and now we have that. So we have some basic filtration. And then we need a button to submit this form. So button, and then type equals submit. And then we could do that. And in between we could just type filter, like that. So we have a button. So when you click on these, boom, boom, you click filter, it takes you to filter algorithm, which is not available. That is so weird. Oh, it's not the right directory. So what we can do is actually redirect to filter algorithm, which is in pages/shop/filter algorithm, like that. So let's refresh the page, go do that. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter if I click these or not. Filter, it takes you to that algorithm page, and now we could deal with some fancy stuff. Alright, so we have that, and now we could I think stop the video, unfortunately. So that's what we did for the next hour or two. What we did, we basically designed the item page, or the shop page. And in the next video, what we're gonna do, or what I'm gonna do probably before the video, is create some images, probably 20 or 50 or so, I don't know, and use those images right here and import them. And then I'll probably show you the process of me inputting at least 2 items into the database, and then from there I'll probably skip ahead and input the rest, which is gonna take a while. Okay, and then from there we might change the database a little bit, because I realize we need different sizes with different type and a different price. I actually want to change the word type to category. I think that suits this more perfectly. So we have sizes, type, pants, shoe, whatever, price, low to high, and then it allows the user to press this button. When you press this button, it'll take those parameters, do some fancy stuff, which is basically redirecting to another web page with these global variables, and then display those items based on those variables. And then we designed this next page kind of thing going on. So there's that. So that's all we did today. We designed the shop page, soon to be full working e-commerce page. And look at this, by the end of this series you should technically have a resource where you could actually sell stuff online and make some money. You know, look at the bright side. The only problem is that you're gonna probably have to wait like 2 months or 3 months before this actual series is done, because this is gonna take a while, since an hour basically allowed me just to design the shop page a little bit. You know, that's all I did for the past hour, and I did nothing else. So in the next video we'll start working with the database and start making this page a little bit more dynamic, and I'll see you then.